Call the meeting to order and start off with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And we'll move along today, I hope. I got to inform that. Ask for approval of agenda.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Approval of minutes.
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Approval of claims for payment.
Make a motion to approve the claims for payment.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. And I'm moving too fast.
You're at 10:04. Talk slow, you'll be fine.
We have a public hearing at 10:05. This is a public hearing that I understand that we really don't have to have in this case, but we're having one anyway. I'm still talking too fast, aren't I?
Yeah, you're getting there.
So give me a minute and we'll get to that. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm killing a minute.
Is that where you work?
Yep.
It's so shiny this day.
Great.
Where's Daryl at? Usually he has the, there you go.
Okay, it's 10:05. I'll go ahead and open the public hearing on the animal feeding operation construction permit, Max Pork, Section 9, Buckeye Township.
That's sitting there.
I was going to finish it off.
Do you want anybody here to say anything on it, or? Okay. This is increasing it from 3,000 to 3,780 head.
Great.
Any public comments? Hearing none, I'll go ahead and close the public hearing. And the recommendation on the animal feeding operation construction permit, Max Pork, Section 9, Buckeye Township.
I'll make a motion to go on and accept that recommendation.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Even brought a big book to give a talk. He's getting- Thanks for coming.
Number 8 is fiscal year 2015 Friendship Club contract with Central Iowa Community Services. And Lynn, do you want to go ahead with that?
Yeah, I think you should have gotten a copy of that. As you know, now we're part of the region. All the contracts are now between the region and the providers. But in this case, we are actually the provider because we are a county program. You know, remember we took that out of Fund 10 into Fund 1. So we're a provider. So we're contracting with the region to pay for the service that we're providing. And then I bill that each month based on the people who attend to the regional funds. So I would just ask that you would approve this contract. It's at a rate of $151 per month per client that attends. And then, like I said, we bill for each client that attends that month. So basically, I mean, it should result in a net no cost to the county. It's basically being reimbursed from the region to the county for the service we provide.
Okay. Do I hear a motion on that?
I'll make a motion to approve the fiscal year 2015 Friendship Club contract to Central Iowa Community Services.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. And then we have a lease agreement for the Friendship Club.
And the lease we have currently with that location expires into this month. And I think, you know, if you remember, we had some discussion last year before we did the bathroom and kind of had some initial discussions about a rate. And so even though it's quite a bit lower than what they get out of the other fronts at that place, he's willing to stick with what he had offered before, the $590 per month. And we did decide to go with a 3-year rather than a 5-year lease. We've had 2 5-year leases. We started out at $525 per month. That was affirmed for all 5 years, and then we went to $550 for 5 years. And now we're looking at $590 for 3 years. Partly because of all the changes going on with the state and, with redesign. I don't see any reason why this program wouldn't continue, but, he was willing to do the 3-year at the same price as what he wanted to do the 5-year for. So I thought it's probably in our best interest to do that, and then we can always extend it after that. So we just took the original lease, which this is what we did last time too, was just did a 1-page renewal. So the only thing that's changing is the price, $590 per month. It'll be from May 1st of 14 through April 30th of 17, and then we had to change the addresses because he's now moved to Ankeny, and change our address over to our building. So I would just ask that you approve this lease extension for 3 years.
Do I hear a motion on that?
I'll make a motion to approve the lease agreement for the Friendship Club for the 3-year extension.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
It
Hearing
seems
none.
to be the best fit. I mean, we've looked at different places, since we've been here, just see if there's a better spot. That just seems to be the best spot available, doesn't it, for the Friendship Club?
It really works well. It's good. Most of the clients we serve are in that area anyway, and location-wise, it's right there. We have a lot of clients that drive, can go to Hy-Vee, get their food, and it's just really worked well.
Yeah.
And he's really good to work with. He owns a lot of property, but like he met with us Monday, and we looked at some things that needed, some repairs that needed,
Good.
issues with lights and things, and he's willing to work with us. So.
Good.
The program that you had last month was really nice. It was pretty special for the people that attend, and there was a lot of people there, so it's very...
And I think it gets a lot of community support, and that was evidenced by, we had a lot of, when we had our open house, there was a lot of
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
business people and others, and so, yeah, it's worked well.
More discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Discussion action on proposal from ING on additional life insurance product. Jessica, you brought this to us.
Yep. Walmart offers us sort of like a buffet of extra products that are not health insurance but are life insurance related products, and they stopped having a relationship with the company that we currently are using through them. They no longer support any sales of their product, and so we need to look at finding another company. The one that Wellmark's going with is ING, and the one we're leaving, if we choose to, is for Dearborn or Dearborn National. It's had a couple names in the time that I've dealt with them. And I brought the proposal for each of you that was sent to me from Penny, if you want that. And then initially I read over it and I had some questions, so I emailed her, so I brought her responses too so that you can have those, and I won't pass them out right now, I will later. But anyway, some of the main concerns when you switch providers like this is if you have people who purchased additional life for their spouse or for their children or for themselves, and then you just say, we're going to sever our relationship with this company, we're going to go to a new one, it's a scary field to be in for those people, because if it's not portable or if the rates are really terrible and they're forced to keep a product and they can't make changes to it because we no longer support it as a group coverage, it becomes frustrating. And I think right now we actually have that with Aflac insurance, where we have people who are using Aflac because once upon a time we used to offer it, but now they can't make changes to it, because if they make changes to it, they're no longer valid in our group. I mean, they have to be a part of something independent outside of us. So the only thing they can do is continue their policy or end it. They cannot make changes. I wanted to sort of avoid that type of a situation coming up when we migrate over to a new company. And so when I got this ING thing, I started asking the things that came up over the years regarding other products we've had that we've ended. And so my first question was, I read in there about grandfathered people, and I wondered if that meant that no one would have to go through underwriting again to purchase additional, as they did before, if they already have the coverage. Not meaning everybody gets a free pass, but if you already had spousal coverage or dependent coverage or additional on yourself and you've already gone through that underwriting process, can we migrate you over without having to do that again? Because maybe people's health has changed and underwriting is fearsome to them. So I asked that, and I was told that ING will not require additional underwriting on employees with current supplemental life coverage up to $250,000. So if they do want additional beyond that, they would have to do underwriting, but up to $250,000 for themselves would be migrated over with no underwriting. Current spousal coverage would migrate over with no additional underwriting for up to $50,000. And then current dependent coverage would migrate over at $10,000 without additional underwriting. And we're talking about 6 employees who have additional self-coverage, 2 people who have spousal coverage, and 3 people who have dependent coverage. And the dependents fit within these limits. One of the spouses fits within these limits, so no additional underwriting. And then the additional self-coverage, what I looked at, it looked like 100% of our people fit into that already have the coverage. So it looks like maybe only one person would require underwriting to migrate over from a policy they already have to this new policy. Okay, moving on to the next question was cost. The current coverage we have, the county covers each employee with life insurance policy of $10,000 and additional accidental death and dismemberment policy of $10,000. That costs the county $4.30 per employee every month. At this new policy, it would be $3.35 per employee per month for the same coverage of $10,000 life and $10,000 AD&D. So you're looking at a cost savings. You're also looking at a company, ING, that is a better company to work with. We currently have a relationship with them in a different product that they've offered in the past that we already deal with them. And they have been very easy to deal with, and any changes that have needed to be made or contacts, that type of thing. And I personally cannot say the same thing for the company that we're leaving. I've had very poor service with them. We've had mistakes on our billing. We've had just a terrible time with them, and I'm pleased that Wellmark said they are no longer going to have them be part of their team. And so when they offered ING, I'm actually very thrilled at that, but that's my personal take on that. The second thing that I asked that I thought was pretty important to employees is there going to be now an open enrollment period for this new group policy that we're offering for additional coverage for people who don't currently have that. And that's very important to your employees because they've been trying to get on board with an open enrollment period, and it somehow keeps changing year to year, and then we're told not to open enroll people because Wellmark's going to change. And anyway, the long story short is we have people waiting for this. So I asked about open enrollment period, and Penny Schmidt from Wellmark did say there will be an open enrollment period for the effective date, whatever we set. We're shooting for July 1 to be effective, so we're hoping to have open enrollment prior to that for at least 30 days. The open enrollment period, the guaranteed issue limits will be $50,000 for an employee, $20,000 if they're age 60 and over, $10,000 for a spouse, and $10,000 for children. And when they say guaranteed rates, that means that they guarantee they'll issue that regardless of underwriting. So if you come to them with major problems, this is a guarantee. That's my understanding of what I'm communicating with Penny, and obviously I'm not an expert in life insurance, I'm an auditor. So she has attached a proposal for you to review, and then to allow her to either move forward with getting this done or not. And then there was one other thing I asked for. Oh no, I just covered it, sorry. I was asking for the start date of July 1, and she said that would not be a problem and we'd have that up and going. So you can ask me anything about it. If I know the answer, I'll tell you, and if I don't know the answer, I will get a hold of Penny and her accounting team and we'll get back to you. But I do think if you were gonna ask for a recommendation from someone, my office being the people who deal with HR, I wholeheartedly support switching to ING, and I think we should get the ball moving on it.
How soon would Dearborn be done?
When we could end it, I believe, in a month. Like, we could
Okay.
not pay a premium for people and it would end that month. But I think it would be wise to have everything in order. So I would project that if we're gonna have a start date with ING of July, that we would probably look at ending Dearborn in June, not at the beginning, but in June, so people have their coverage in June, and then July 1, we're done. So we wouldn't be withholding from those people in June for any additional products because we won't be sending it in for July. Does that make sense?
Yeah, just so the coverage overlaps.
Right.
You know, so.
Right, I want people covered in June, so
Right.
that when we start July, there's still coverage. I mean, it's consecutive.
And this is a company that Blue Cross is suggesting to use?
Yes, they are in their family of products that they offer now. They have a working
Okay.
relationship with ING, and if you were brand new to Wellmark, asking them to come in and offer you the buffet of products to their people, this would be the company they do offer to you right now for additional life.
Do we want to look local at all to this, or does that just make a mess? But the only reason I ask, I have insurance agents hit me up about our county insurance, that they would like to come down and, you know, present and see what they
Mhm.
can do. And then as I've talked to other supervisors in the state, it seems like there's only really about 2 companies that cover health insurance wise, but on life insurance, I don't think I've ever asked that question on life insurance, if anybody's using different companies there or not, so I don't know the answer.
Here's my only drawback to that thought initially would be from running payroll and from doing the withholdings and dealing with that, and putting in new employees into a system.
Mhm.
If we choose a company that Wellmark has in their family, in their umbrella of coverage, we go into one place and enroll people, and that's
Okay.
it. If you have Wellmark stuff over here and then you have a separate company over here, I'm not against that. It's just that my person, whomever that be, is gonna have to go in and enter here, and then they're gonna have to somehow enter here,
Mhm.
and you're gonna have separate types of customer service that you're dealing with. With this one, I'm getting one, and
Sure.
with this one, I would have 2. I don't think it's an overall negative that you shouldn't look at it, but I do see some sort of strategic problems with it in terms of enrollment and making changes in our office.
We would incur more costs that way, a
And you
little
may,
bit more.
right, but
because of-
it's, I mean, if that's what you wanna
Okay.
do, I certainly would ask some local people to say, what could we get for group coverage with this, and see
Mhm.
what they say.
I mean, the rate seems reasonable, you know, what you've put out there, but I have nothing really to compare
Right.
it to either, so.
Although comparing it to what we have,
Correct.
it's very
It is.
attractive.
It is.
I was gonna ask the question, do we need to take bids on it since we're switching companies or
No.
not?
It's April.
And this isn't something that we have to move right away on either.
No, I think that the next step would be to, if you said yes, I believe the next step would be for us to give the atlas, for lack of a better term, but the atlas of our employees and what coverages they have and whatnot to them, so that they could work on tabulating and putting in the right rates and the right coverage for the people up to their limits, and then having the one-on-one with that person as to whether they want to continue the additional that they'd have to go through underwriting for. And then also the open enrollment period for all the people who aren't currently provided or subscribing to anything that they may want. And then after that's closed, then it's just basically waiting for the calendar date to push the button and be done. So you don't have to act on this today. I put it on there so that if you said, absolutely, let's just do it, that you could. But you certainly can table any action for the future, and you can ask for other proposals.
It's up to you guys. I read through this last week and we talked yesterday, and I've made a decision already, so it's whenever you guys are ready, I'm fine.
I haven't read through it yet. I'd like to read through it. I like Brian's idea of seeing if somebody else is competitive even. and it wouldn't hurt. It's not saying I don't like this, but it's nice to give people chances too.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm kind of there too. If we're not in a big push to it, I just like to talk to a few life insurance people and just say, you know, I know some local ones. Or how are we doing here with this? Is
I
this
just want to make sure you're going to do that though, right? Like
right?
not me.
Right,
Okay.
absolutely. No, this is for
'Cause
my
I'm-
own information going out and getting it. I can make a better decision here. I think
Perfect.
you've brought us a really good policy and a really good situation that fits your office good. So I don't have a problem with it. I just want to make sure I do some
Okay.
price checking just to make sure we're.
Can I foreseeably then have on the agenda in, I would say by mid-May,
I'd be good in a
an
week. I
action
think.
on
I'd say next week would be
whatever
fine.
company we're doing so that we can have an
Cool.
open enrollment period and such for
Well,
the whole month of June.
Yeah.
That'd be good for the April 30th meeting. 2 weeks.
Okay.
I would say next week, but then I got to thinking, what if we find out that someone can come in here for $1.35?
Yeah.
You know, we're gonna have to stop and take a look at that, and just say, okay, what,
Right.
is it apples to apples? But if it, you know, in my mind, if we go out and visit and it's relatively close, we're gonna, because you are gonna have that extra expense. You know, I don't think we're gonna get around that of your labor of double entry. So I think we need to take that in consideration when we're out there looking at other companies. But I'll make a motion that we just table this for now, and I won't put a date to come back as soon as possible.
Good for me.
It's been moved.
Seconded.
Second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Motion's tabled. Discussion action regarding hiring Paul Groupie for handbook review. We've been toying around with this for years, I can say. And we just put it on the board that we were either going to do it or not on the agenda. One question I got is to the auditor, do we have the money to hire to do this?
What is the cost we're looking
I tried to get hold of Paul yesterday. He didn't give a ring back to double check it.
2,300 is
Did
the
he?
number I remember.
There was a couple of options. We
Right.
could go monthly, we could hire just to do a specific task. So we do need to get back to him
Yeah.
to get the specifics of
He didn't
the
return my
most
call.
appropriate way to tackle this.
at? Mm-hmm.
If we go monthly, we can get more services than just the handbook. So, and that's a
Go ahead.
decision we haven't made yet.
Well, I think the biggest thing that I don't want to speak for these two, but I think if you read our handbook, you know, it's just been added on to, and it's so long, we had to make a change this last year because the person that we've always relied on it, can't think of her name now, retired. And so we hired Paul for our union negotiations, and we were very impressed with him. I mean, and I know Jessica used him on the side there just a little bit, and I think you were impressed with what he had to offer. So he does offer these other services, and he just skimmed over our handbook real quick and said that there's definitely some things that could be done, and he was wanting to get all the department heads in the room and just start going through it basically page by page and saying, this is what you have to have, this is an option, and really give us that leadership that I think we all are looking for. And so that's kind of, I think, brings us up to speed.
I like the idea. We have an 80-plus page handbook,
Yes.
and he thinks he can get it into the teens.
Yeah.
And before he brings everybody in, I like the idea of him going through the handbook and then just cutting out all the stuff we don't need, then come back and present it to us. Instead of us sitting there asking a lot of questions, we're paying him by the hour then.
Mm-hmm.
Let him do it on his own and then bring it to us, and then we can discuss whether for the rest of the options moving forward on
We
that.
talked about going over with all the department heads and,
Yeah.
and, you know, having some input. But
Get rid of all the excess in there first.
there's been a lot of additions
Yeah.
since 2009.
So yeah, we kind of all got different ideas, but we all want to get to the same place,
Mm-hmm.
which is
I think
narrowing our
that-
handbook down.
If you're looking at like $10,000 for the next budget year or less, I think reasonably we could come up with that or use an amendment with fund balance our carryover. You know it's pretty thin right now, but I do think that 10,000 is, or less, is probably doable. Any more than that, I'd probably,
I thought
I'd
it was
have-
2,300, that's what
I
sticks
don't
in my
think, just to
head.
do the handbook was around 2,500, and that would take a couple
Okay.
months of his time and our input to get that done. And then he had a service
Yeah.
that we could, a monthly service that we could call him if you, as a department that had a problem, you could
well,
just
I
call
would
him right up.
think for the remainder of this year, if you go with something small, $2,000, that 2,300, 2,500, whatever, that being small, that I probably can make that fit in this year because we only have May and June left. But I'll need to know what, and that would be probably stage one. And then
Mhm.
stage two, having him as being here in the office on a monthly or every 2-week type of basis. We'll need to do some talking about how much we ended up with at the end of this fiscal year
Mhm.
and what we have, like, 'cause what if we end up less than what we planned when we budgeted? So, but I think, you know, to have him visit the handbook at that price tag probably is entirely doable right now. I would hold off on the other until we
Mhm.
see what the year ends up.
Yeah, the other things he offers would be your HR and everything else, which we're in need of as well, but
I'd love to have him here bi-weekly, honestly. Just having him here every 2 weeks saying, you know, I have a laundry list of things I'd like him to address, and knowing that in 2 weeks he'll be here to do that. And then if I have more, write it down, and in 2 weeks he could deal with it. I think that's great, because obviously he's trained to do this, and I am not, so.
Mhm.
so I guess the question we got here is, do we want him to do the handbook? Go ahead and start the handbook, or not?
I think we need to talk to him first
Maybe
and
it's
get
hard.
some specifics, but I think we all feel that it needs to be done sooner or later. It's pretty complicated as it is right now. So-
I'll make a motion that we have our chair contact him and get the information from him, and bring that to our next, as soon as possible, to the, one of our next meetings for us to discuss and take action on.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Lance, I would just like to encourage you, the board, that if you are looking at changes to the handbook, that you involve the, you know, you have a handbook committee
Mhm.
Yeah.
that's been in place for a long
Yes.
time, and it sounds like you're looking at some substantial changes if you're gonna eliminate
He really wants that in.
most of the pages, so.
Paul really wanted that input too. He wasn't
Yeah.
just gonna come in here and tear
Yeah.
through it. He wanted
Yeah.
department
But
heads.
a good
There's a
point.
lot
I mean,
of, there's a lot of
we should have
repeat
said that.
in the handbook. I think he can come through, eliminate all the repeats, and then come back in, and that's when he
Right.
comes back. Instead of going through all 80 pages, he'll just have to come through about 20 pages because he eliminated a lot of them already.
Yeah.
And then we clarify off that.
And I know I think you were involved. We
Yeah,
were
I-
involved the last time we redid it, and
Well, I was.
a lot of times it seems very simple to take things out, and then we would be told, because we had a professional that helped us at that time, was that Debbie?
I
No,
wasn't there. then
And,
at that
you know, we were
time.
told, no, this needs to stay in, but I'm sure everybody has their own opinion of what needs to be in there.
Yeah, as part of the handbook committee too, I was gonna say that it would be nice, you know, for us to have some idea what's happening.
Mhm.
Yeah, and that's our fault. We've already discussed that with Paul in an earlier discussion, and he and we made that statement that,
Yeah,
so
and
we
I
totally
feel
agree with
that's a
you.
great thing, because the handbook committee, you know, that we've had, of course, none of us are experts on it by any means, and an expert opinion would be very valuable. I hesitate on cutting out everything, you know, because obviously we've had issues and that's why they were added, but his expert opinion would be very valuable.
Thank you. Next, we go to utility permits, secondary roads.
No utility permits. Just being us.
Sounds good. Nothing on secondary roads. Roads are
Marion
looking
County
good.
sold that groomer for their asking price right away.
Did they?
So we didn't get it.
That doesn't bother me though. you don't know how much blade life was left, it had been used, so.
Got some good comments on that. I mean, first the comment is, what are you doing with a drag on the gravel road, you know? They always gotta make fun, but then after they drive on, it says, wow, that thing really does a nice job, so.
It has its place.
It has its place, yeah, it
So
really
we're
does.
trying to get there.
Mhm.
No, they're looking in pretty good shape where I've been. Roads are.
Yeah. And the brush trimmers heading, I think, down your neck of the woods now.
It's looking really good in my neck of the woods.
See the roads again?
It used to be a tunnel.
Really?
Yeah, you can see fence to fence. It's nice. Other than that, anything else? Other business? Hearing none, I'll ask for adjournment.
So moved.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 We're adjourned.
Here's my email from Penny.